moving on to the next one, we have Schoolgirl Strikers animation channel. The story is set in the near future. The newly established girls' private school, Riyoga Academy, has another face. At this school, there is a special unit, 5th Force, to fight the enemy called Oberi, and the force's members are assembled and selected from the school student body. This is the story of love, courage, and friendship of the girls called Strikers. So this is based on a game. I'm guessing it's a game done by Square Enix because the anime is being published or produced by Square Enix. So there you go. Again, we know how game adaptations to anime tend to go, but I wrote down some notes in case people were interested, which is that the director did Azumanga Daioh and Milky Holmes. So as far as comedy goes, they've got notches under their belt. They know how to do some funny stuff. The director also did both seasons of Index, which had occasional funny moments, but in general, people just kind of liked. But I think that was probably more for the writing than the directing. But when it comes to like comedic timing, that's largely up to the directing too, as far as like how it's portrayed. How a joke is portrayed is almost as important as how it's written. That's why you can give credit to directors when it comes to comedic stuff, just not like the writing in general. The person on series composition has done Elfin Lead, Demon King Daimo, Kenzen Romo Diamond Dollar, Watamote, second and third seasons of Working. So again, more comedy stuff, well, other than Elfin Lead, unless you consider that a comedy, which some might. So more comedy stuff under the belt. But also to note, the series composition dude, still going over them. They did shows. They did some shows where they did the series composition and the script, which are Dear S, all 3 seasons of High School DxD, though we didn't do the script for the 3rd season, and also the 2nd season of Queensblade. I said Kings, the opposite. 2nd season of Queensblade, both seasons of Sekirei, Shinmai Mount Testament, the 1st season of Zero no Tsukaima, and here's the whiplash, fucking Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso, Your Lie in April. So in case you were going over these going like, oh, these are getting more perverted, more ecchi fucking bullshit, just wrap that all up. And by the way, they did the series composition and script for Shigatsu. So nice whiplash for you right there. Sorry if I hurt your neck with that whiplash, but I'm just listing the staff members as I found them. So hey, there you go. And then I also mentioned like, the whiplash with the staff is interesting enough that I want to watch a couple episodes and, like, see where this goes, you know? Maybe it'll suck, maybe it won't, who knows? The staff behind it are at least interesting enough that it could go either way. Then I looked up that some of the lead roles, only one each, obviously, but a couple of lead roles, for example, one is being voiced by Kana Hanazawa and another by Miyuki Sawashiro. So, fuck me, I'm watching this! Like, Kana Hanazawa or Miyuki Sawashiro would be great enough on their own. I would actually give the edge to Miyuki Sawashiro. I love her so much. She's probably my favorite voice actress. But both of them together is like, well, fuck me, I've gotta watch this now. So that's gonna be fun. Probably not. I'm gonna hate myself, but there you go. Next we have is Aono Exorcist Kyoto Fujuo Ehen. That was a bit of a botch pronunciation near the end there. This is a sequel from Aono Exorcist, which aired how many years ago? 4? Maybe 5? I don't remember. I should have wrote down how many years ago the first season of Aono Exorcist. Howie. I think it's just Aono Exorcist. That first season aired a while ago. So, it aired so long ago that I don't know if you actually need to have watched that season to watch this, because it may just like recap the stuff that happened in it because it was so long ago. I just assumed that you probably want to watch the first one before you watch this, because it wasn't a bad season. Like, not too much happens in the season, and as far as what I've heard, I think it does anime original stuff. It's been a long time. I don't remember if it ends on anime original stuff or if that was just the movie, because I remember the movie was anime original, if I recall correctly. But it definitely had stuff it still had to do. And it'll probably carry off from that, so you should probably watch the first season before this anyways. It's shonen, but it's a pretty solid shonen. So, it'll be interesting to see this. So yeah, sequel, but solid sequel I'm looking forward to, and probably everyone else who watched that. Follow that up with yet another sequel, Shogun Roku Rakugo Shinjo, Season 2. This is a show that's pretty good, but I feel is getting a little too much credit from people for being, like look, I like the show a lot. When I eventually get around to doing my top 10, which is another reason I'm trying to finish up shows from winter that I haven't done yet, it'll probably be on the top 10, but I doubt it'll be, I don't even know if it'll reach top 5. Like, it's a good show. Like, the directing is phenomenal. Being able to keep your attention on, like, you know, person telling a story for like 15 minutes in some episodes is incredible. And the voice acting is fucking top notch to keep up with that. But the writing is the one bit where it falls. Like, I know people like credit the directing and voice acting a lot with this show, and it deserves it. It's great, although there are bits of directing that just seem kind of like there for the sake of it weird. Not like actually, like there are some cuts in the show I remember where it was like, I was trying to figure out why the director portrayed like a cut in that way. And I was just like, I can't figure it out. Either I'm stupid or it's just too obtuse and it doesn't actually mean anything. It's Shaft style or it's Shimbo style directing where it's like weird for the sake of being weird. And I mean, it's kind of odd because for the large part, the directing is largely straightforward. Other like even in like the storytelling stuff, it just makes sure to change the camera a lot to like keep you interested. As far as like the angles it chooses, it's like interesting in that regard. Everything else is largely straightforward. So then there's just like these weird bits where like it chooses to like show stuff that like you wouldn't expect, and it's like what the fuck? It just gets weird. Anyways, I got off tangent. The writing just gets boring at times. I'm sorry. Like the actual Rakugo, the part you would think would be boring because it's a guy sitting there for like 15 minutes telling you a story is actually like the most interesting bits in this in the show. Honestly, the rest is like not that fun. Like the idea behind it of like the story of the two characters is good, but like there are a lot of parts in the show where like it's just boring. Like nothing's happening or like something really fucking stupid happens. Like I think even people who like the show can agree that some of the shit that happens near the end of the story is just dumb. Like, you get what it's going for, but it's just dumb. So, it's got its flaws, and maybe it's just me, but I place importance on writing a lot when it comes to whether I like shows or not. Other stuff can be like a bonus or can help make up for flaws, but for me, if the writing just doesn't make it, like, it's hard for other things to make up for it. Everyone puts importance on different parts of stories of shows, like what's most important to them. And sometimes it changes from show to show, and I agree with that. Like, for example, I put probably more importance on the actual animation in One Punch Man than the storytelling in it. I don't think the storytelling is bad necessarily. I think it's, you know, okay at worst. But I would agree that's a show where, like, the animation is, like, the main appeal of it. So, like, you know... I feel like I'm just trying to make excuses from like an angry mob that'll show up at my door or something, but Shogun Raku Shinjo's good. It's just when maybe I'm just a hipster, but I'm not really that much of a hipster because I'm still saying it's in my top 10. Like, it's good. I just don't agree with it being the best thing that aired last season. I don't know. Whenever people say it's the best thing that aired last season, it just, I don't feel like I can agree entirely. But I don't know. That's just me. Opinions are opinions, right? I'm spending too long on this. I just wanted to mention that because I'm probably never going to do an actual review of the show, so maybe I just felt like I should get my thoughts out here. But yeah, sequel. If you watched it, here's more. If not, whatever. I'll watch it. Like I said, some of the writing got boring at times, but based on the way the story works, that may not be a problem in this season. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'll watch it. If I get bored, I'll drop it, but it's unlikely. But I'm interested to see more. Following it up, we have Spirit Pact. Heir of an old that's a weird way to start that sentence. Heir of an old famous family of exorcists. Oh, I get where it was going. That was talking about an object. I was like, that's weird to start. Yukeika, interesting, is stricken by poverty after losing his parents and has to struggle as a street fortune teller and as a composer and as a computer recovery part-timer to earn money. One night in a junkyard, he meets the mysterious and charismatic exorcist Tanmoku Ki, who is fighting an evil spirit. This encounter was the beginning of a fated story for Yukeika. Unfortunately for him, he is hit by a car and becomes a ghost. Tanmoku Ki then appears and asks Yukeika to make a pact with him to fight evil spirits together. You may have noticed, not so much with the main character, but with the other character being called Tanmoku Ki, this isn't an actual anime. I mean, it is, but not real. This is one of those shows that's going to start arguments over what qualifies as an anime, because this was Chinese made. This is a Chinese animated series, and what's happened is that it's getting a Japanese dub and is now airing on, I assume on their TVs. Maybe it's on the internet, I don't know. But the other shows, because this isn't the first time the studio's done this. They did other shows. One was called Hitori no Shida the Outcast, and the other was To Be Hero, which I believe aired either last season or the season before. So they've been doing a couple shows lately. If you liked those, then this is more of that. At least in regards to where the animation comes from and where the work comes from. Staff members beyond that are probably different. I don't know. It's hard to look them up because they're not in like, anime databases because again, Chinese company. It's kind of interesting in that regard, but from what I heard, at least from a couple people, the first episode wasn't that interesting, so I'm probably not going to pick it up. There's nothing really here to interest me beyond like, I wonder what Chinese anime or I wonder what a Chinese cartoon looks like. So, I don't know. If I hear things, I'll watch it. Otherwise, I don't really care. Moving on, we have Raikenzan Ichi no Shikaku, which is a sequel to some other Raikenzan thing. So, if you watched that, which I think I remember this guy in a promo image like a season or two ago. So if you watched that, here's another. If not, then oh well. Moving on, we have Demi-chan wa Kataritai. Tetsuo Takahashi is a teacher working at Shibasaki High School and specializing in the physiology studies of demihumans. His students include Akira Takanashi, a vampire and lover of tomato juice, Kyoka Machi, a Dullahan, and Yuki Kusakabe, a Yuki-onna. The school also employs, there should be an A in there, employs a math teacher. Oh, there isn't, because I read the rest of the sentence. The school also employs math teacher Saki Sato, a succubus. For a show about demi-humans, because Demi-chan, it's kind of weird that, well, I guess demi-human makes sense because they're partially human, but they're still pretty human. Like, obviously you can see in the promo image the Dullahan can take off her head, but like a Yuki-onna, a vampire, a succubus, these are pretty human monsters. So they don't look that different. This ain't no Monster Girl show. So it doesn't appeal to that crowd for that much because they're still pretty human. So I guess as far as it just being like I think it's based on a 4-koma, so but I could be wrong on that. It could just be a general comedy manga. But yeah, the manga it's based on has been running since September 2014, which isn't a huge amount of time as far as anime goes. Even as manga goes. The director was the chief director for the Gate anime. Otherwise, they've just done a few episodes of, directed a few episodes here and there, like stuff in Shokugeki no Soma, Prepara, and I Tenchi Muyo. Not the original Tenchi Muyo, I Tenchi Muyo, which I think was a remake in like HD because of like an anniversary or something. But yeah. And the series composition guy is the same one doing Schoolgirl Strikers, which I mentioned before. So if you remember his resume, which is the really huge Whiplash one, where he did the series composition for Elfen Lied, Demon King Daimyo, Kenzen Robo Daimyo Dollar, Watamote, second and third seasons of Working, and then did series composition and script work for Dear S, all 3 seasons of High School DxD, didn't write the script for the third, second season of Queen's Blade, both seasons of Sekirei, Shinmai Mao no Testament, first season of Zero no Kaima, and then Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso, like Early in April. Just in case you forgot, I thought I'd list him again, because it was Benefit. So, again, weird fucking whiplash on the kind of shit he's done. So, there you go. Yeah, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing for me. It's probably a lighthearted comedy with demi-humans. It's just an excuse to be different, probably. I doubt the demi-human stuff even plays that much of a part other than maybe the blunt end of jokes. But yeah, it's largely comedy, just lighthearted stuff, I'd imagine. Following that up, we have Chain Chronicle, Hasietes no Hikari. And I noticed that it said the main Chain Chronicle, Hasietes no Hikari, or whatever this thing, will be split into 3 chapters, and each chapter will be screened in 2-week limited engagement in theaters. Meaning, this isn't even going to air. Well, I mean, it will, but it says the TV series are anime shorts featuring the characters from the 3 movies, but in chibi form. So it's like the comedy version. So you probably shouldn't even watch them without watching the movies first. So there's no point in knowing anything about this because you'd have to watch. Even if I did research, it would be on like the movie versions, which you'd then have to watch. So because this isn't airing on television or whatever, other than the comedy version, I just didn't bother to take notes. After that, we have aidei live. I don't know how to pronounce the E, so I'm just gonna say ID live. Mumbling Chuda Kokanoze doesn't have many friends. In fact, the only conversations he has anymore are with voices inside his head. Okay. Little does he know that this voice doesn't mean he's crazy, it just means he has an alien living inside his body. Oh yeah, that's always the fucking solution for people with voices inside their heads. They just have an alien in their body. Anyways, this is a manga that's been running since August 2013. Decent amount of time. Better than 2014 at least. Well, it's been a couple years. As far as I'm aware of, it's largely a straightforward shonen. Mainly because it's based on a manga by Akira, or the manga is by Akira Amano. If you don't recognize the name, you may recognize that his main work that he's credited for, or well, main work that he's done that people know of, is a little thing called Katekyo Hitman Reborn, which is pretty popular. It ain't no Naruto or Bleach as far as I'm aware of, but quite a few people know it and like it. So same mangaka there, same dude writing it. So if you liked that, this is definitely something you might want to keep an eye on. The director for this did Saint Seiya Soul of Gold, which I'm pretty sure was a movie. And he did the 4th, which is the most recent season of Udapri, which I still haven't gotten around to because I never finished the 3rd season because, I don't know, I need to. He also did random episode directing here and there, and was the assistant director on Nobunagan, which isn't the greatest thing ever, but hey, there you go. I just list them as I see them. The person on series composition also did the composition and script for Saint Seiya Soul of Gold. So it's a guy, the dude has worked with the director before. So the director and series composition guy have worked together before, probably on a couple other things too. So they're a team that know how to work together already, I guess. So there you go. But yeah, as far as I'm aware of, it's a straightforward shonen for the most part. It's being done by Studio Pierrot, so again, another reason to see it as a shonen. I don't know what kind of shonen it'll be as far as length. It could be like they're going for a long-running shonen, but it could also just be a couple episodes. Studio Pierrot has done a couple shows where they just did... There's some shows where they haven't done like long-running stuff. I don't remember if they're the ones behind Sosei no Onmyoji, Twin Star Exorcist, but that's one that's going for like 50 episodes and then it's ending. Some might argue 50 is too long because it's been doing anime original bullshit for a while, which is interesting, but I don't remember if they were the ones behind that show. I should have looked up which other shonen they've done, but they have done shows where they didn't go for a super long time. So it's hard to say what the case is going to be with ID Live. Next show is Nyanko Days. The story follows a shy girl named Tomoko who comes home from school and is greeted by her 3 personified cats. The fucking promo image pretty much says it all. It's a super cutesy show about little girls and then even littler personified cats. I mean, it's some cute shit. I like some cats. They're cute. But don't know if this is going to be a show I'm going to watch. I might watch it because they're 2-minute shorts. I remember I actually looked that up. I looked up the length of stuff. I may have missed some, but I tried where I could to remember to look at the length run. These are 2-minute shorts, so very easy to watch. The manga's been running since August 2014. As far as I'm aware of, it's a 4-coma, so it's not like there's not much content regardless, but if they're 2-minute shorts, it's not like it's going to do much anyways. The director for this did directing and series composition for the first working season, and then also directed Amagami and the AKB 0048. How do you pronounce it? Do you just say AKB 48, or do you say AKB 0048, or do you say AKB 0048? Like I could see any of them making sense. I don't know. But yeah, he directed those. And then he also, for example, directed and wrote the script and did the series composition for a show called Momokuri, which probably not many people watched, but that was just an example of things where they did like fucking everything. So there you go. There was, interestingly, no credit for the script or series composition that I could find. So I'm guessing the director's just going to handle it, or maybe, I mean, if it's an adaptation, you don't necessarily need one anyways, especially if they're just adapting a 4-coma. Like, the fucking thing's already written for them, especially in 2-minute shorts. So they probably just didn't even need a writer or series composition person. The director's just going to take the 4-coma and turn them into jokes in anime. So, there you go. The lead girl character in this show is a brand new voice actress. But interestingly enough, is also doing another role this season, which is a random supporting role in a show called Kimono Friends. Kimono Friends, I guess it actually should be pronounced, which is further down the list, and we'll get to it. But yeah, the lead girl, VA, is brand new. So it's interesting that I guess they're not two main roles. I mean, it's just a 2-minute short as a lead role, and then another short, I'm pretty sure. I think Kimono Friends is another short, and is doing a random supporting role in that. So not like major roles or anything, but still interesting. Following that, we have Tales of Zestria, the second season. If you watched the first season, here's the second season. I watched the first season. It was kind of boring, but I may as well just finish it, right? After that, we have Idol Jihen. In the story, idols stand up against a corrupt government as idol diet members and then work to bring back the smiles of the Japanese people through song and dance. The idol diet members belong to 7 different political parties, including the Heroine Party, the SOS Party, the Subculture New Party, the Bishoujo Party, the Wakaba Party, the Starlight Party, and the Samurai Party. It's kind of interesting that idols are like their own fucking... I could see this being a really good comedy if like idol groups just became like political parties and then like tried to like run states or countries based on those. Like I could see that being pretty funny. I don't know if that's what this is going for. This says it's based off a game. I don't know what the fuck the game is. I didn't know to look it up. It's probably some random mobile game. Interesting is that Mappa's doing this. They've been doing kind of shit lately. Like Mappa was great when they first started. They did lots of cool shows. They had pretty good production value. I think Mappa has just created like a B team. Because, like, I watched last season Days, which got way more shit than it deserved, but it still was, it was decently lackluster, but it got so much shit from people. I was baffled how much people hated that show. I was like, Jesus, it's not amazing, but Jesus Christ, you guys are way too harsh on this. That was just me. But yeah, I've never loved it to begin with, but I was going to say I fell out of love with it, but I was never in love with it. My enjoyment of the show dropped tremendously as it went on, and it was clear that the production values had completely shit themselves, and a lot of the soccer games were being played with, like, still images and CG and, like, really far away, like, camera shots. So, it did not look good. The initial, like, little skit you saw of them, like, scoring a goal or playing soccer or whatever at first was, like, cool, and it looked good, and then it just never looked good after that. It just went to shit. So maybe Mappa made a B team and that was the team who did Days and is now doing this, but it's just weird for Mappa to be going in this direction. Anyways, enough ranting about that. The director for this is their first directing gig, full directing gig. They've done a directing before, but it was just animation directing on random shows, not even like actual like episode directing or anything like that. Before they were the animation director on random shows. Now they're directing the show, which is interesting. Also interesting is that there's 2 script writers that are on this. Both of them mostly just wrote random episodes for a couple shows. I don't think any of them wrote any like full shows or anything, or if they did, they were like completely random shows no one's heard of or like shorts. Otherwise I would have listed it. But yeah, excuse me. But yeah, they've only done that bit of stuff. Person doing series composition did the composition for the first season of Chihaya Furu. Hopefully I didn't butcher the pronunciation on that, but a lot of people like that, so interesting in that regard. One of the characters in this, as I was looking up credits, the character is called Natsuki Hoshina. She's voiced by a voice actress who's only done a couple other minor roles. I didn't list what the minor roles were because they must have been really like out there that people wouldn't really even think of. Like, I remember that voice. It would have just been like, who was that again? Anyways, the voice actress' name's Sarada Yashima. So let me do that again. I fucked that up. Sarada Yashima is her name. She's a new voice actress to a lead role. As far as I'm pretty sure she's doing a lead role. She's doing the character called Natsuki Hoshina. I think it's one of the 2 in the promo image, but I'm not sure. So yeah, that's relatively new voice actress doing a role, so that's pretty cool. I think I'll just hear what people have to say about this show and then decide after that whether I want to watch it or not. Yeah, I don't know. It could be, I mean, it's Mappa. I'm curious what the fuck they're up to. But it might, like I said, it might be the B team. But yeah. After that, we have Little Witch Academia, which I don't even need to go over. This is probably the most popular show this season. It's Little Witch Academia. It's what everyone's been wanting. Everyone knows Little Witch Academia started as one of the animator training project shorts. I think it aired the same chunk as Death Billiards did. And after that, they did a Kickstarter, and it raised a shitload of money. And they turned it into, I don't know if they did an episode or 2 and then a movie or whatever, or they just did a straight up movie with the money. but it raised a shitload of money and they did that, and now it's getting a full-length show. I'm pretty sure like 24 episodes and everything. But yeah, I didn't bother to write any notes for it because, I mean, it's fucking Little Witch Academia. Who hasn't heard of and watched Little Witch Academia? And I'm pretty sure it's the same staff behind it, so no point in being like, because I would just look up the staff and be like, the most notable stuff they've done is work on Little Witch Academia. Wow, who would have thought? Yeah, I didn't bother to look it up. But I mentioned it was going to be the most popular show this season, but I should have amended that by saying it would have been the most popular show this season, except the simulcast rights for it have been picked up by Netflix. So I'm not sure if people are going to care enough, because, I mean, I get it. You know, Amazon Prime and Netflix are like trying to break into this and be like, we want people to watch on our stuff. You know, we want to break into this simulcasting business. And so they try and get, you know, they have shitloads of money. They're Netflix and Amazon Prime. So they're showing like the immense amounts of money they can at the 1 or 2 shows that are going to be super popular, and they're going to get a ton of people to watch on their platform. I don't know if it'll work. I mean, Little Witch Academia is fucking massive, so it just might. But keep in mind, Netflix is the show that had the rights to, I believe, Kuromukuro. And they waited for like half the season to air and then released all the episodes at once for that half, and then again with the second half. And I'm pretty sure they also had the rights to Knights of Sidonia, which aired, and then we had to wait a while, and then they released the show. So they released the show all at once, but it's a bit after it finishes airing. So who knows what they'll do with Little Witch Academia. People might get really mad at them if they don't full-on simulcast it. Regardless if people can simulcast it regardless. People may have to turn to alternate methods to watch this. Not that I endorse that, but sometimes when the shit hits the fan, you gotta do what you gotta do. So we'll see what happens with Little Witch Academia. It's gonna be very interesting to see how people get a hold of this show and how they're going to watch it. Whether they're gonna do whatever Netflix is planning or if they're gonna figure out some other way. Who fucking knows? It'll be interesting to see. After that, we have Gintama, which is the sequel to the 2015 Gintama series, which is like a quadrillion episodes long at this point, so no way in fuck are you watching this unless you've seen all those, probably, so there you go. After that, we have Sentai Heroes Sukiyaki Forest Gama no Heiwa o Nagao season, and it looked fucking weird, and I figured no one was gonna watch it, so I didn't bother to take notes on it. Just reading like the first sentence, it's the anime will be a surreal comedy that emphasizes Gunma Prefecture's self-sufficiency in ingredients for sukiyaki. That's both weird and yet Japanese as fuck. So odds are a lot of Western audiences don't give a shit. So, I mean, the odds of people watching this are slim to none. It is Studio 4C, which have done like normal shows before, so that's interesting. Who knows? Maybe this be some random cult hit that'll explode. I mean, Osamatsu-san, when we saw the preview image for that, or at least when I thought the preview image for that, figured it was just some random shorts no one would really care about, and then turned out to be fucking huge, so who knows? You never know what's going to be popular nowadays. After that, we have Gabriel Dropout. The comedy follows Gabriel White, who graduated at the top of the class at Angel School, and attends a human school on Earth in pursuit of knowledge, but then gets engrossed in a web game and decides it's too much trouble to go anywhere. She becomes a good-for-nothing angel, or datenshi. So basically a girl's like, yeah, I'm the best, or like is doing the best in school, and it's just like, oh, hey, video games, I'm just not gonna do anything. So, hey. Or web game, it says, not video games, but whatever, same difference. This is an adaptation of a manga that's been running since December of 2013, which is, you know, decent amount of length to run a show on, having enough content for it. The director for this did Yuru Yuri, the first season of Minamike, and Himuro Amaru-chan. So if you want to, this seems like a show that'll have a similar kind of vein to that. Although I can see people within these 3 shows, like, hating the other shows. Like, I can see people in Yuri Yuri not liking Minamike or Himoto. I can see people who like Minamike not liking Yuri Yuri or Himoto. And I can see people who like Himoto not liking Minamike or Yuri Yuri. So it's kind of interesting as far as audiences for this show is going to go, as far as who's going to like it. It'll be interesting to see. Series composition on this is done by the person who did the first season series composition of Yuri Yuri. So they did the first season. But they did the script for some episodes of both seasons. So series composition of the first season of Yuri Yuri, and then did the script for some episodes of season 1 and season 2. Also did the series composition for Minamike. Start noticing a pattern here. Also did the script for some of the episodes. And, oh, hey, what do you know? Did the script and series composition for Himoto. He also wrote the script for Onigiri, which I don't think very many people watched because it was an adaptation of some MMO no one cared about, but some of the jokes in that were actually pretty funny. Like, the first couple episodes actually had some really funny jokes, like how, I remember in the very first episode it had all the characters in it, and the one male character in the show just had a text box for his dialogue as his mouth moved, and there was like a notice in the episode that was like, we only bothered to voice the female characters. So there were actually some pretty funny jokes in Onigiri that I liked quite a bit. So it was pretty amusing. Interestingly is that music person Yasuhiro Himisawa, guess what? Did the music for Yuri Yuri, Himoto, and Minamike. Although they actually did the music for all of the seasons of Minamike, not just the first. You may have noticed a pattern in the staff with the director, series, composition, script, and music person all having done the same shows. Same 3 shows, noticeably. The main character, Gabriel, the dropout or whatever, is voiced by a newish voice actress. Her name is Miyu Tomita. She did Yume in Aikatsu Stars. She did Odako in Galko-chan. And she, interestingly enough, people may not notice this, she did the brother in Himoto, the main character. She was, God, I don't remember what his name is, but she was the brother in that. She maybe it may have only been in the flashbacks, actually, because I don't know if he was in general, because a lot of the times male characters are credited with a female voice actress, and I forgot to double check, but sometimes they're credited with the female voice actresses because there's a flashback where they were younger, and that's obviously done by a female voice actress. And if I recall, Himoto did have a flashback or two to when they were younger, if I recall. So she could have just voiced a younger version of the brother rather than the normal one. So that could have been the case. I forgot to double check, my bad. Regardless, she's still largely new. Those 3 roles I credited were the only 3 roles she's done. So she's largely new. So the main character could be someone to listen to as far as new voice acting blood. But yeah, the staff behind that are all, there's pretty common thread between all of them. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with this. I'm actually interested to see what they do with this, especially because it's being done by Dokukobo, who I don't know if they did Yuri Yuri and Minamike, but they did Himoto. Again, something I should have double checked with all these common threads. But I like Dokukobo, so I'll watch this. After that, we have Churudan Nibun no Ichi. On the eve of a new era, Kyoto was in chaos. Different factions are moving at cross purposes, and with the clash of different ideals, many were resorting to violence to enforce their views. To bring back order to the streets of Kyoto, Shinsu, and Gumi, the supposed guardians of peace were formed. A chosen group of hot-blooded youth and on a mission to save Kyoto and to prove their worth. This is a tale of proud young samurai mercenaries who lived and died by the sword. In a turbulent period of political upheaval, to them, a man is defined by the way he dies. So, before you start thinking about anything, although you're probably already thinking about some stuff, based on that synopsis, it seems kind of weird with that promo image, and that's because you would be right. That is actually a plot synopsis from Chirudan, but a different Chirudan, the actual Chirudan. Chirudan Nibun no Ichi is actually a comedy spin-off of the main version. So this is the comedy spin-off of a show that doesn't actually have an anime yet. And I looked at the main version, and it is way more fucking serious looking. Like, these dudes look fucking mad as hell. Like some seinen samurai shit, like some angrier, manlier, well, maybe not manlier, but definitely angrier looking dudes, like Rurouni Kenshin style dudes, like samurai and shit. So, kind of a shame, because looking all this up made me want to do is get an anime of the actual show, or the actual manga, rather than its comedy spinoff. But, so yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to actually work on this, or anyone's going to watch this, because it's the comedy spinoff of a show that doesn't actually have an anime yet, which is weird as fuck. But hey, the studio that's doing this, LandQ Studios, has only done 5 other projects, whether they were the main people behind them or just helped on them. Who knows? And like 3 of the 5 things was Robot Girl Z stuff. So I don't know if anyone watched that, but there you go. Not the comedy spinoff, because I couldn't even find an entry on the comedy spinoff, this thing that it's based on, but the actual manga has been running since October of 2010. I mentioned that there was an earlier manga on this list, and I found it. I don't think there are any earlier than this. This is the longest running manga that's not actually getting adapted because it's the comedy spinoff. And then the director for this is brand new. But like I said, I don't think anyone cares at this point after learning this, that this is a comedy spinoff of a much more interesting looking manga. So that's a shame. I'll have to keep an eye out for if the actual show gets an adaptation or the actual manga gets an adaptation, because it actually looked interesting. And that synopsis sounds interesting, but it's not what the actual comedy is or what the promo image is based on, because like I said, the synopsis is from the main version or the main manga. But yeah, moving on, we have Yowamushi Pedal New Generation, which is a new season of Yowamushi Pedal. I don't know if this follows the manga, because the last season of Yowamushi, or the last bit of Yowamushi Pedal, kind of wrapped up the main story that was happening. So I don't know if the manga actually went past that. It seemed kind of conclusive, so I don't know if there was more shit in the manga, or if there was an extra epilogue or spin-off manga that covers the stuff this anime is gonna do. I don't know. Again, something I probably should have looked up. It's one of those things where man, I did more research this season than last one. Good job, Riyoga. You did good. And then as I'm going over this notes, I'm like, I probably should have looked up this. It's just fuck. Can't take that back. Anyways, yeah, this is a sequel. So if you watch the others, then here you go. There's more of Yowamushi Pedal. I'm excited. I like Yowamushi Pedal. After that, we have Onihei Hun Control. Historical series. The historical series depicts Heizo Hasegawa, who meets justice on wrongdoers and supervises the crackdown on arsonists and robbers in Japan's Edo period, which is from 1603 to 1868. So this is a much more serious show. I'm pretty sure when it says it's based on a novel, it's an actual novel, not a light novel. It's an actual novel, and I could probably back it up. Yeah, it's based on a novel with a complicated and long history I wrote, because it's the novel I think was done a while ago, but there's I remember reading something there's it's a series that's been getting stories every year or something in some form. And then there's 5 different spin-offs, and it's weird. There's a long and complicated history behind this. I remember I read Studio M2 is being is a new studio, I believe, that is made by the same dude who created Mappa, which may actually make the studio name make sense. Studio M2. Mappa 2. Maybe this is where Mappa's A-Team went. They went to make Studio M2. But yeah, this is a much more serious show. So if you wanted something much more serious, less anime, but still very Japanese, definitely something that's interesting in that regard. The director for this did Blood Lad, which is one of those shows that I think people liked a decent amount when it aired, but wasn't hugely in love with it. People just watched it and was that was cool, and then it was kind of over. Here's the problem, though. You can't really watch it easily because it's airing on Amazon Prime. This is one of the 2 shows Amazon Prime picked up for the season. All 3 shows that got picked up by outsider, I say outsiders, I guess in quotes, companies for simulcasting, Amazon and Amazon Prime, or Amazon Prime and Netflix. Netflix got 1, Amazon Prime got 2. I already went over a Little Witch Academia, went to Netflix. Amazon Prime picked up this show. They picked up 1 other show, and all 3 shows that the fuckers picked up are shows that I'm interested in. So I'm fucked as far as stuff I want to watch. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to have to figure it out, which is a shame. But yeah, that sucks.